Hey everyone. So, I hope I'm pronouncing this right, but I'm going to say it's Cahokia mounds. But anyway, I visited there earlier today and I was led on a timeline journey because they're incredibly ancient. They go back thousands of years. And first, before I forget, I got that the mounds themselves had different purposes. The There's a main one that was used for like an astronomy observatory, or they would keep lookouts up there to communicate with nearby villages with signal fires. Or they would do spiritual rituals sometimes on the mounds. I got really practical purposes for this. I guess they were smaller ones. I'm assuming that there are multiple because I'm getting it, like this one would have been for this practical purpose. This one would have been for that practical purpose. Stuff like that. But I'm getting like the main one was like where all the spiritual stuff happened in astronomy and stuff like that. Anywho, moving on from that, I was feeling a lot of agriculture and livestock going around. It was a very thriving, active society for a while. And people would come and go, and they did have like a leadership council, but they became complacent after a while. And with that complacency, the people, it kind of fell into anarchy. And so there was a lot of chaos. There was infighting within the society. There was some fighting with neighboring villages or people. Not a lot, but it was the fall of this society that happened, I think, I want to say, well, according to this comment, it was in the 1300s. But I was getting closer to the 1600s that it was completely wiped out. So I think that there was more than one people that populated the area. But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. But what happened when the population started to decline was, with the agriculture, they had depleted their soil because they weren't rotating their crops. So there wasn't enough to feed their livestock. And the population was so overwhelming for a lot of people, and plus the anarchy and chaos, with lack of leadership, people would branch off and leave. I had this vision of people leaving and going north and northeast, like branching out in all directions to either explore and go on trading missions, or to go and start new villages elsewhere that were more manageable because they weren't overpopulated. And the people that were left behind kind of just went and found friends and family in other villages to settle with. So the area was eventually just kind of abandoned, for lack of a better word. But no, they didn't just disappear. Just like, the Mayans and the Aztecs, they didn't just disappear. They just moved on somewhere else. So, I just got that a lot of their movement was to prevent colonization. That little piece of information just hit my brain. So the person who left this comment, Ms. Maggs, if you could share some of the history that you know about these mounds and the area to either confirm or tell me I'm full of it, I would appreciate it. But that was the impression that I got over this timeline that I was taken on. But it feels like a really cool place. But it was like I'm feeling like this ebb and flow with the society and culture that just kind of happens with all societies eventually. Like what's happening to us right now. So, anywho, that it was awesome. Thank you for the suggestion.